Okay, so on this one, we're gonna do same thing to kind of get our framework. No holes. How do we know that there are no holes?
You can't factor it.
Cannot do any factoring, right? It would have to be a common factor in numerator and denominator. Good, Solomon. Can't factor that top, so there's no holes. Okay, what about vertical asymptotes? Where would they be?
-3.
Okay, yep, so x is equal to -3 and x is equal to +1. Set each of those factors in the denominator equal to 0 and solve. And then what about horizontal asymptotes? Is that top heavy or the same or bottom heavy? Okay, it's bottom heavy because we've got x's in the denominator and we don't have any x's in the numerator. So it's bottom heavy, so that means we've got a horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 0. Awesome. Okay, so that kind of gives us our framework. Questions on any of that? So we're gonna, x is equal to 1, x is equal to -3. Okay. All right, now from here, we're gonna kind of plug in some points to kind of come up with what's going on in the different intervals. So remember what I explained, we're gonna wanna figure out what's going on over here on this left, to the left, that left interval. We also wanna figure out what's going on to the right, and then we will go through and figure out what's going on in the middle. Now, there's no x in our numerator, so that means it's not crossing the x-axis. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. I'm gonna get rid of that just so that it's a little less distracting. Okay, so we're just gonna plug in some points. I'm gonna do a table of values. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we need to choose an x value that's farther to the left than this -3 so that we can figure out where are we going to graph over here on that side. So let's plug in, let's plug in -4. So let's plug -4 in for x, and let's see what we get. So we get 4 over -4 plus 3 gives us -1, and -4 minus 1 gives us -5. So we get +4/5. So we're going to go out to 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going up to +4/5. So that tells us that we know that this graph is going up above the asymptote there on that side. Okay. It tells us something else. What else does it tell us? What do we know about how the asymptote's going to go just to the right of that asymptote? Yeah, it goes in opposite direction. So since this is going up, we know ultimately this is going to go down. We just don't know how yet, right? Does that make sense? Sure, Mrs. Ireland, clear as mud. Okay. Now we want to figure out what's going on the other side, the way far right. So we need a value for x that's greater than 1, so we can figure out what's going on over there. So let's plug in 2. So if we plug in 2, we're going to have 4 over 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. So we get 2, 4/5. Yeah, so 1, 2, 4/5. It's the same. It's kind of hard to draw that in. It basically looks like it's right at that 1. So that tells us that this is going above that y asymptote, that horizontal asymptote also. So it looks about like that, which tells us once again that over here, this is also going down. I should change colors for this. This is going down, this is going down, okay? So we kind of have to figure out what's going on in that middle region. So let's just choose one more point. Let's plug in like x equals -1 to figure out, because it looks like it's probably going to be kind of parabola-like there. It's not going to cross the x-axis. It's going to be parabola-like, and but let's figure out at least one more point there. All right, so if we plug in -1, we've got 4 over 3 minus 1 is 2. -1 minus 1 is -2, so we get -1. So at -1, we're at -1. So this parabola type shape is going to look something like this in the middle. And boom, we're done. That's it, airily.
How did you know the arrows were pointing down the middle?
The arrows are pointing down here. Okay, we decided and we determined that this was going to be above this asymptote here. So
Yeah, I
if
got
it's
that.
going up here, remember on the other side of this, it has to go opposite direction.
Alright.
And same thing here, since it was going up here, it had to go down here. Okay? Great question. All right. Questions?